A farmer calls Arataka Reigen, explaining that for the last 3 years, his harvest crop's dying and that he saw something strange. He tells Arataka that he can't afford to pay him much due to needing to pay for his son's school, and Arataka proposes he gives him 30% of his harvest. Arataka then calls Mob, and he feels a presence from the scarecrow and destroys it. Roots emerge from the ground revealing the real body of the spirit, who manages to capture Arataka and make Mob surrender. Mob realizes the spirit isn't possessing the roots, but just controlling them, and decides to do the same and overwrites the spirit's commands. The spirit takes control of other roots and faces Mob, but it gets easily beaten by Mob, who gives the plant stronger comments. Later, Arataka paid Mob with some seeds as the harvest was ruined, and the farmer could only pay with soil, fertilizer, and seeds. Shinji decides to step down from being the student council president. Knowing that Mob can't currently lead the Psycho Helmet cult, Ichi convinces Mob to run for student council president, as that way, the girl he likes, Tsubumi Takane, would be interested in him. Mob agrees and starts preparing, but on the day of voting, he completely freezes on the stage and doesn't even say a word for the 5 minutes he got, and Shinji is re-elected. Mob receives a love letter in his locker room, and a girl, Emi, confesses that she likes him and wants to date him. They start to walk home daily with Mob, saying that his part-time job is at a bookstore, and Emi confesses that she wants to be a novel writer. A week after going out, Mob reads Emi's novel and likes it. She tells Mob that she knew he was returning to school after they walked home and is still happy that he walks with her even though he rejected her. She explains that she took a bet with her friends and lost and had to ask him out because of it.
The only reason I asked you out is because I lost a bet. My friends thought your silent speech was hilarious, so we played rock, paper, scissors, and I lost. At first I was scared, because if you turned me down, everybody would laugh at me. But since you walked home with me, no one found out that you actually did. Thanks for that.
But since Mob spent time with her, her friends didn't learn she was rejected. Not wanting to lie to him anymore, Emi returns to her friends, who see her novel and laugh about it. Emi explains she wrote it while bored. Her friend then rips the novel to pieces, but Mob shows up and asks her to stop. He starts collecting the pieces of paper, commenting that this isn't trash for him, and he decides to consider his feelings more. Emi decides to join him and tells her friends to go without her. Mob and Emi collect almost all the pieces, but then a gust of wind blows them all. Emi tells him she will just write it again, but Mob uses his powers, gathers all the pieces together, and tells Emi that he is an Esper. Mob tells all of this to Dimple, who wonders why he didn't tell him sooner if something fun like this was happening. He asks Mob if Emi fell for him due to his Esper powers, but Mob says no way would happen. Meanwhile, Emi starts to think that Mob is amazing and gets an idea for a story about a middle school student with psychic powers. Not getting jobs, Reigen decides to take Mob and head to a place where recently a lot of rumors about urban legends started. He knows the urban legends are fake, but knows that he can get people to believe in the supernatural more. He stands, but Banshumaru Shinra, another psychic, shows up and tries to chase him off. A woman approaches them and explains that she has a spirit next to her, which Mob confirms. Realizing they are genuine psychics, she asks them to eliminate the urban legends, and Reigen gladly accepts. Banshumaru is surprised Reigen took the job for just 20,000 yen, while he typically starts from 200,000 and would have taken 500,000 for this job. Reigen manages to convince him to help him, and as they split, he asks Dimple to follow Banshumaru for his safety. While investigating, Banshumaru finds Red Raincoat, who is just a pervert wanting to flash himself in front of kids, but he ends up running away from him. Meanwhile, Reigen finds the human-faced dog, knowing it was just a prank, and washes its face.
This is the human-faced dog, huh?
That's magic marker. I guess it was bad information.
Nope. This is the real deal, all right.
I'm not sure I understand.
Most rumors end up being stupid stuff like this. For the kids, this little guy's the real thing. Hey, buddy.
Banshumaru continues to chase the Red Raincoat man and finally catches up to him, but the man uses a stun baton, saying he is enjoying his rising popularity. It starts to rain, and a woman appears, who happens to be Kuchisei Gona. The Red Raincoat man tries to use the stun baton on her, but it has no effect, and she knocks him out. She starts to drag him into the water, but Banshumaru gets up and uses a spirit hold, which she quickly escapes. She easily defeats and starts dragging him, but Dimple possesses him and starts fighting with her. He manages to call Reigen and inform him that he is facing the Kuchisei Gona. Mob and Reigen arrive just in time to save Dimple. Reigen tries to take a picture of Kuchise Gona, but she can't be seen on camera. Dimple explains she is neither natural nor fake and is born from the masses' imagination, fear, and curiosity, with her appearance and strength all decided by humans. Banshumaru explains that she feeds on their fear and power, and since they feared her long ago, they won't be able to face her. As she attacks again, Mob takes her on with Dimple realizing that Mob never knew any of these urban legends, so he doesn't fear her or know her. Mob then easily defeats her.
Urban legends, creepy gossip, or ghost stories. He was isolated from those childhood fears, so he doesn't even know what's supposed to be scary about the Dragger.
Later, the police arrest the Red Raincoat Man, and Banshumaru goes with them. Reigen decides to check the last urban legend about Dash Granny. They enter a long tunnel and see a running granny. Reigen tells Mob to exorcise her, but he fails, commenting that she is much stronger than Kuchise Gona. They start to panic and run away from her. The granny manages to catch up and run past them, making Reigen realize it is just an old woman running. Mob starts to cry, commenting that he runs every day, yet a granny beats him. Reigen decided to make his website, excited to get more jobs. A man arrives at Spirits and Such consultation and asks Reigen to place a curse on someone, to which Reigen initially refuses. Still, upon the man's insistence, he hesitantly agrees and cooks up a fake curse. The man is pleased over this but tells Reigen that he will place a curse on him if it turns out to be a ruse before leaving. After the man's departure, Mob voices his concern for the man to Reigen, who is surprised that Mob is voicing his own opinion for the first time. Reigen then receives a call from a woman seeking help, and the duo soon head to the client's location. The woman informs them about an inhuman figure, whom she believed to be a stalker originally, that stared at her through the window, making her worried. Reigen starts investigating the scene and requests Dimple's assistance, who reports that he has found nothing. Mob says that he sensed a faint presence. As they start discussing the stalker, the room starts shaking, and the woman sees a figure outside the window. Reigen asks Mob to exorcise it. However, Mob discovers that the stalker is a human. Reigen tries to catch the stalker, but it slips away. Mob senses a familiar presence in the next apartment, and the group head out to apprehend the stalker, who is revealed to be a man with a crush on the woman. The man confesses his love for her, begs for forgiveness, and begins to threaten them, but is rejected by the woman who calls him creepy and hands him over to the police.
It's really creepy, that's what it is, stalker! Can't believe I was scared of him.
Mob begins to wonder why the woman treated the man differently after learning that it was not a spirit, but Reigen quickly changes the topic and heads back to their office to have soba. The duo encounters a trio of students at the door, who request Reigen to accompany them on their visit to a haunted house. Upon reaching the destination, the students ask Reigen to take a photo of them, and when Reigen asks for the payment. However, they brushed it aside, stating that they didn't make any use of his services before leaving. Mob and Reigen are left stranded, and the duo hitchhikes their way home. The next day, Mob is approached by some high schoolers, who try to bully him into giving them money. Dimple and Ritsu attempt to help Mob by possessing one of the high schoolers' bodies and using psychic powers on them respectively, but Mob asks them to stop. The Body Improvement Club members come to Mob's rescue when one of the high schoolers tries to bully Mob again. The trio of students returns to Reigen's office, seeking his help in exorcising the spirit they found in their photo, and Reigen agrees to help them after they decide to take the most expensive plan. The group heads to the haunted house again, along with Mob and Dimple. Upon their arrival, Mob senses the presence of 3 spirits. However, he mentions that the spirits aren't evil. Mob raises his hand forward to exorcise the spirits but is requested not to do so by one of the spirits, who reveals that the 3 are a family and that they mean no harm and wish to live peacefully. Mob tells the group that there is no need to exorcise those spirits, only to receive a series of complaints from their clients, who ask him to hurry up with the exorcism. Dimple then attempts to instigate the spirits into attacking them, but this fails as the father kneels on the ground and begs Mob to ensure they stay together if he decides to exorcise them. After hearing this, Mob is hesitant to exorcise the spirits, and he starts shivering due to nervousness. Noticing his dilemma, Reigen tells Mob that they are skipping the exorcism this time. Reigen then splashes salt on the students and tells them that the exorcism is done. Sometime later, Dimple asks Reigen if he is okay with taking the money for free, to which Reigen replies that it would be more suspicious if he hadn't taken the money. Reigen asks Dimple if he is sure that the spirits aren't evil, and Dimple responds affirmatively. Dimple then notices a minor curse placed on Reigen and eats it upon Reigen's request.
If I ever thought I wanted to get rid of a living, breathing person, and not just a spirit, would anybody be there to stop me?
21, 22, 23, 24, 25.